the scrutiny so far.
Do you get any Democrats? Schumer says he'll do everything in his power to stop this nomination.
Peter, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the president made an outstanding nomination. We look forward to the confirmation process, and it'll unfold in the next few weeks.
Do you get any Democrats?
Mr. Vice President.
Well, let me first thank the Senate Majority Leader for his outstanding leadership over the last year and a half for this administration. President Trump has actually confirmed more judges to the circuit courts of this country than any president in American history, and we're grateful to the Majority Leader and to Republicans in the Senate for their strong support. We look forward to working very closely with you, Leader, to advance the Senate's proper role in considering Judge Brett Kavanaugh as the President's nominee to the Supreme Court of the United States. As the President said last night, Judge Kavanaugh is a man of impeccable credentials and character, and we're very confident that working with you and reaching out to members of the Senate in both political parties, that members of the Senate and the American people they represent will see, as the President said last night, that Judge Brett Kavanaugh is quite simply the most qualified and the most deserving nominee to the Supreme Court of the United States. And we're honored to be able to bring him here to the United States and begin the important work that the Senate will do in discharging its constitutional duties to consider this good man and the President's nominee to the Supreme Court.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. That's it. Thank you. Thank you. We're done. Thank you. Thank you.
It's been great having you.
Thank you, everyone.
The art of smiling and not saying anything. Brett Kavanaugh is a picture of that right now. But we did hear from the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and the Vice President. And to the right, you see former Senator John Kyle, who will be Kavanaugh's Sherpa, my favorite technical term, through this entire process. Mark, I am, I guess, somewhat surprised that Mitch McConnell even decided to say anything, considering how he prefers to be when it comes to these things.
Yeah, no, he's very much on message, and he didn't say anything. Although, what I do find interesting, and if you're just tuning in right now, wondering what's happening, we're seeing this Supreme Court nominee now going up and going to have all these meetings on Capitol Hill to try to get senators, and as you said, Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski specifically, to come to their side. Those meetings are going to be very important, Kate, because we're going to hear what he says in the hearings. We're going to see his questionnaire, but it will be the tell whether Susan Collins or Lisa Murkowski can trust him. But what was interesting there, too, is you saw Mike Pence, when he was given the opportunity to say something, the first thing out of his mouth was to praise President Donald Trump for all the judges that he has gotten confirmed, which I thought was kind of interesting, given that this is supposed to be the day for Brett Kavanaugh. But who am I to know?
There's always an audience of one, Mark. I don't know how much longer we have to be talking about this for that. Joan, did anything stick out to you?
Yeah, a couple things. First of all, this is almost phase one for the hearings. These courtesy visits are actually important because groundwork is laid. He gets a feel for what the senators are going to be asking him, and he actually starts making his case. Even though they involve a lot of pleasantries about, their home state interests, this is where he will start trying to put certain senators at ease, and they're very crucial.
And recall, and we don't need to go back to it because, of course, we're out of time, but there were some critical things that came out when Neil Gorsuch made the rounds during his private meetings to reassure senators his independence, if you will, from President Trump, because that was a big issue at that time. I remember senators coming out and divulging those conversations, which is actually somewhat surprising when they do. But let's see what comes from then, these private conversations between Brett Kavanaugh and the senators. First lesson, Brett Kavanaugh will learn very quickly, is they're never private when you're speaking to anybody on Capitol Hill. So that's one thing to remember. Mark, great to see you. Joan, thanks so much.
Thank you.